My dear one, I did not bring you this far to leave you. I need you to know something that will change everything. In the courts of eternity, a declaration was made about you that silenced every opposing voice. When questions arose about your future, when your name was spoken, I rose from my throne and spoke 3 words that echoed through every realm. I said simply this: this one is mine. You do not understand yet what those words mean for your situation. You do not realize the weight of authority behind that declaration. When I claim someone as my own, when I stand up in the courts of eternity and announce that a soul belongs to me, the entire spiritual realm shifts. Assignments are canceled. Plans are disrupted. Strategies that took years to develop crumble in an instant. The enemy had built an elaborate scheme to destroy your courage, to make you so afraid that you would never step into the destiny I designed for you. He had calculated every angle, anticipated every possible move you might make, prepared counterattacks for scenarios you have not even imagined yet. But he made one fatal error in all his planning. He forgot that you are not fighting alone. The reason you are hearing these words right now is because heaven has intervened on your behalf. This is not coincidence. This is not random chance. This is divine orchestration of the highest order. I have been waiting for this exact moment to speak courage into your spirit, to breathe boldness into your weary soul, to remind you of truths that the chaos of life has caused you to forget. There is something specific I need you to hear, something that will transform the way you face every challenge from this moment forward. I need you to understand, deep in the core of your being, that courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is trusting me in the presence of fear. Courage is choosing to believe my promises, when everything you can see with your natural eyes tells you those promises are impossible. I know the weight you have been carrying. I have watched you try to be strong for everyone around you while crumbling quietly inside. I have seen the moments when you put on a brave face for your family, smiled through conversations with friends, told everyone you were fine when the truth was far more complicated. You have become skilled at hiding your fear, at pushing it down into the deepest corners of your heart where you hoped it would stay buried. But fear does not stay buried, my child. It grows in the darkness. It multiplies in the silence. It becomes stronger every time you refuse to bring it into the light of my presence. This is why I have come to you with such urgency. The fear you have been hiding has been growing, and if left unchecked, it will consume the very courage you need to fulfill your purpose. But here is what the enemy does not want you to know. Here is the truth he has worked so hard to keep hidden from you. Your fear has no power over your destiny when you place it in my hands. The giants that seem so terrifying from where you stand look entirely different from the perspective of heaven. The mountains that block your path are nothing more than small obstacles when viewed from my throne. The enemies that have gathered against you are already defeated, already conquered, already stripped of their authority. You just cannot see it yet because you are looking at your situation through human eyes. I am asking you to trust me with divine perspective. I am inviting you to see your circumstances the way I see them, to understand your battles the way I understand them, to face your fears with the confidence that comes from knowing the end of the story before it begins. Let me tell you about the courage I am calling you to embrace. This is not the kind of courage the world celebrates. Not the reckless bravery that ignores danger, or the foolish boldness that rushes into situations without wisdom. The courage I am placing in your spirit is something far deeper, far more powerful, far more transformative. It is the courage to trust me when you cannot see the path ahead. It is the courage to obey my voice when my instructions do not make sense to your human understanding. It is the courage to rest in my presence when everything around you screams that you should be panicking. This kind of courage is supernatural. It cannot be manufactured through positive thinking or self-help techniques. It can only come from an encounter with me, from a revelation of who I truly am, from a deep understanding of my character and my commitment to you. I want to tell you about a moment I will never forget, though I exist outside of time and remember all moments eternally. There was a man named Joshua who stood at the edge of a promise that seemed impossible to claim. Behind him were 40 years of wandering, decades of waiting, a generation of people who had seen miracles but still struggled to believe. Before him was a land filled with giants, fortified cities, armies that had never known defeat. The people he was supposed to lead were looking to him for answers he did not have, for strength he did not feel, for courage he could not find within himself. In that moment of overwhelming pressure, I spoke to him the same words I am speaking to you right now. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. For I, the Lord your God, will be with you wherever you go. Do you understand what I was telling Joshua? Do you grasp the depth of what I was communicating in those simple words? I was not giving him a motivational speech. I was not offering empty encouragement. I was making him a promise backed by the full weight of my eternal nature. When I told him not to be afraid, I was not minimizing the danger he faced. The giants were real. The fortified cities were real. The enemy armies were real. I was telling him that something more real than all of those things was also present. I was telling him that my presence was more powerful than any opposition he would encounter. I was telling him that the same God who parted the Red Sea, who brought water from rocks, who rained bread from heaven, that same God would walk beside him into every battle. This is the same promise I am making to you right now. Be strong and courageous, not because your situation is not serious, not because your fears are not valid, not because the challenges you face are not real. Be strong and courageous because I am with you. Be strong and courageous because the one who created the universe has committed himself to your victory. Be strong and courageous because no weapon formed against you can prosper when you are walking in obedience to my will. The courage I am calling you to is not based on your own strength. It is based on mine. The boldness I am asking you to walk in does not depend on your abilities. It depends on my faithfulness. You do not have to figure out how to win your battles. You just have to trust the one who has already won them. I know you have questions. I know there are things about your situation that do not make sense. Details that seem to contradict my promises. Circumstances that appear to prove that I have forgotten about you. Let me address those doubts directly, because I do not want anything standing between your heart and the courage I am trying to give you. First, let me be absolutely clear about something. I have not forgotten you. I have not overlooked your needs. I have not moved on to other people who seem more important or more deserving. Every single moment of every single day, you are on my mind. Your name is written on the palms of my hands. Your face is always before me. Your situation is never out of my sight. When you feel most alone, when you are convinced that no one sees your struggle, I am closer than your next breath. The delays you have experienced are not evidence of my absence. They are proof of my wisdom. I understand that waiting is difficult. I understand that prolonged battles can drain your courage and make you question whether the breakthrough will ever come. But I need you to understand that my timing is not random. I am not late. I am not slow. I am precise. I am strategic. I am working according to a plan that accounts for factors you cannot see, coordinates details you cannot imagine, orchestrates events you have no awareness of. The victory I am preparing for you is being constructed with precision, being assembled with care, being crafted with love. If I gave it to you before the proper time, it would not be the blessing I intended. It would be incomplete. It would be premature. It would lack the depth and richness that comes from waiting on my perfect timing. I also want to speak to the fear you have about your family. I have seen how you worry about them, how you lie awake wondering if you are doing enough to protect them, provide for them, prepare them for the challenges they will face. This weight of responsibility has become a source of anxiety instead of a calling to trust. Let me lift that burden from your shoulders. Your family is not your responsibility alone. They are under my protection. They are covered by my provision. They are surrounded by my presence. The same God who watches over you is watching over them with equal attention, equal care, equal commitment. You do not have to carry the weight of their future on your own strength. You were never meant to. When I placed your family in your life, I did not abandon them to your human limitations. I did not hand them over and walk away, leaving you to figure out how to meet needs that are beyond your capacity. I placed them in your life as a gift, as a blessing, as an opportunity for you to see my faithfulness in action. Every need they have is an invitation for me to show up. Every challenge they face is a chance for me to demonstrate my power. Every lack they experience is a door for my provision to walk through. You do not have to be afraid for them. You do not have to exhaust yourself trying to be their savior. They already have a savior, and I am far more capable of protecting them than you could ever be. Let me tell you how I see your family. I see the unique purpose I placed in each of their lives. I see the gifts I have deposited in them, the callings I have planned for them, the destinies I am shaping them to fulfill. I see the challenges they face as opportunities for growth. I see their struggles as pathways to strength. I see their fears as invitations for my peace. Nothing about their lives is random or accidental. Every detail is being woven into a beautiful tapestry of grace. And you, my child, get to be part of that tapestry. You get to watch as I work through the generations, as I fulfill promises that span decades, as I prove my faithfulness to your children and your children's children. The provision I have promised you is not dependent on the economy. It is not limited by job markets or affected by financial trends. My resources are unlimited. My supply is inexhaustible. My ability to provide exceeds anything you could ask or imagine. I know you have worried about money. I know you have calculated and recalculated, trying to figure out how the numbers could possibly work. I know you have felt the pressure of bills and the weight of financial obligations that seem impossible to meet. But I want you to hear this clearly. I am your source, not your job, not your bank account, not your investments, not your financial strategies. I am the one who provides, and I have never failed to meet the needs of my children. Look at how I provided for the Israelites in the wilderness. For 40 years, millions of people walked through a barren desert where nothing grew and no food could be found. Every single day for 40 years, I rained bread from heaven. Every single day, without exception, without interruption, without delay, there was enough. Their shoes did not wear out. Their clothes did not become threadbare. Their needs were met with supernatural consistency. And you think I cannot provide for you? You think your situation is too complicated for my provision? You think the challenges you face are beyond my ability to address? My child, if I can feed millions in a wilderness, I can certainly take care of you and your family in your current circumstance. I want you to stop striving. I want you to stop the frantic activity that comes from fear. I want you to stop trying to solve every problem with your own wisdom and your own strength. There is a rest I am inviting you into, a peace that transcends understanding, a confidence that comes from knowing that the God of the universe is actively involved in your situation. This rest is not laziness. It is not irresponsibility. It is not an excuse to avoid the work I have called you to do. This rest is trust in action. It is choosing to believe that I am working even when you cannot see it. It is choosing to remain at peace even when circumstances suggest panic would be more appropriate. Think about a child resting in their parents' arms. The child is not worried about where the next meal will come from. The child is not anxious about the mortgage payment or the electric bill. The child is not lying awake strategizing about how to solve adult problems. The child simply rests, trusting that the parent who holds them will take care of everything. This is the kind of rest I'm calling you to. Not the rest of a person who has no problems, but the rest of a person who knows their Father is bigger than every problem. Not the peace of someone whose life is easy, but the peace of someone who has placed their life in capable hands. I understand that resting feels risky when so much is at stake. I understand that letting go of control feels dangerous when you have been hurt before. The walls you have built around your heart, the self-protective mechanisms you have developed, the constant vigilance you maintain, all of these came from legitimate pain. You learned to guard yourself because trusting made you vulnerable. You learned to stay alert because relaxing led to disappointment. You learned to rely on yourself because depending on others led to betrayal. I do not dismiss the experiences that taught you these lessons. I see them. I validate them. I understand why you became the person you are. But I am asking you to trust me differently than you have trusted anyone else. I am not a human who will fail you. I am not a person who will make promises they cannot keep. I am not a friend who will abandon you when times get hard. I am the eternal, unchanging, faithful God who has never broken a single promise in all of history. Every word I have ever spoken has come to pass. Every commitment I have ever made has been fulfilled. Every covenant I have ever entered has been honored. You can trust me because I am fundamentally different from everyone else who has ever let you down. Let me speak to the specific fears that have been haunting you. I know about the fear that whispers you are not enough. I know about the voice that tells you everyone would be better off without you. I know about the anxiety that keeps you up at night, rehearsing worst-case scenarios and imagining catastrophes that have not happened. These fears are lies, my child. They are weapons the enemy has forged against you, designed to steal your courage and keep you paralyzed. But I have given you authority over every lie. I have given you weapons to demolish every stronghold of fear. You do not have to accept these thoughts as truth. You do not have to let them take root in your mind. You can reject them in my name and replace them with my promises. The truth is that you are more than enough because I live inside you. The truth is that your presence matters because I have placed you exactly where you are for a specific purpose. The truth is that the future I have planned for you is good, filled with hope, designed to prosper you and not to harm you. These are not just nice words to make you feel better. These are declarations of reality, spoken by the one who creates reality. When I speak, things come into existence. When I declare something about your life, I am not expressing a hope or a wish. I am releasing creative power that shapes the very fabric of your future. I want to talk to you about the battles you are facing. I know it feels like you are fighting on multiple fronts. I know it seems like new challenges arise before you have finished dealing with the old ones. I know that constant warfare has left you exhausted, drained, wondering how much longer you can keep going. But here is something I need you to understand. Not every battle you are fighting was assigned to you. Some of the wars you are engaged in are distractions, designed by the enemy to keep you so busy defending territory that you never advance into new ground. Some of the conflicts you are investing energy in were never meant to be your fights. I am giving you permission to lay down the battles I did not assign. I am releasing you from the fights that were never yours to fight. You do not have to defend yourself against every criticism. You do not have to respond to every attack. You do not have to prove yourself to every person who doubts you. Some battles are won by engaging. Other battles are won by walking away. The wisdom to know the difference comes from time in my presence, from learning to hear my voice, from developing the discernment that only comes through relationship with me. When you are secure in my love, you no longer need to fight for your own validation. When you know who you are in me, you no longer need to prove anything to anyone. The battles I have assigned to you are the ones where my glory will be revealed. These are the fights where your courage will make a difference, where your faithfulness will produce breakthrough, where your perseverance will result in victory. In these battles, I have already guaranteed the outcome. The victory is certain. The triumph is assured. The conquest is complete before you even engage. You are not fighting to see if you will win. You are fighting because I have already won, and I am inviting you to participate in the celebration of that victory. This should change how you approach every challenge. You are not fighting from a position of uncertainty. You are fighting from a position of guaranteed triumph. Let me describe to you what courage looks like when it is rooted in trust. It looks like a shepherd boy walking toward a giant with nothing but a sling and 5 smooth stones. It looks like 3 young men being thrown into a furnace because they refused to bow to an idol. It looks like a teenage girl saying yes to an angel's announcement that would change her life forever. It looks like fishermen leaving their nets to follow a rabbi they had just met. It looks like a man praying in a garden, sweating drops of blood, but choosing to say, "Not my will, but yours be done." Courage rooted in trust does not make sense to the world. It defies human logic. It contradicts natural reasoning, but it taps into supernatural power that accomplishes the impossible. This is the kind of courage I am awakening in you right now. Not human bravery that depends on favorable circumstances. Divine courage that stands firm regardless of circumstances. Not natural boldness that requires visible evidence. Supernatural boldness that believes without seeing. Not earthly confidence based on your own abilities. Heavenly confidence based on my character and my commitment to you. This courage is being activated in your spirit as you receive these words. It is being deposited in your soul as you open your heart to my voice. It is being released into your life as you choose to believe what I am telling you. I know there have been times when your courage failed. I know there have been moments when fear got the best of you. When you backed down when you should have stood firm. When you remained silent when you should have spoken. When you retreated when you should have advanced. These failures do not define you. They do not disqualify you. They do not determine your future. Peter denied me 3 times, and I still used him to lead my church. Moses ran from his calling and spent 40 years in hiding, and I still sent him to deliver my people. David made choices that should have ended his legacy, and I still called him a man after my own heart. Your past failures have not changed my plans for you. My purposes for your life remain intact. The courage I am releasing to you right now is fresh courage for this new season. It is not recycled from past battles or borrowed from old victories. It is new courage for new challenges, specific courage for specific assignments, custom-designed courage for the exact situations you will face. This courage comes with my anointing. It is backed by my authority. It is fueled by my power. When you walk in this courage, you walk as my representative. When you speak with this courage, you speak with delegated authority. When you act with this courage, you act as an extension of my will in the earth. There is something else I want you to understand about courage. It is contagious. When you walk in divine courage, it awakens courage in others. When you stand firm in the face of opposition, it inspires those who are watching to stand firm in their own battles. When you choose faith over fear, you give permission to everyone around you to make the same choice. Your courage is not just for you. It is for your family. It is for your community. It is for the people I will connect you with in seasons to come. You are being equipped to be a carrier of courage, a transmitter of boldness, an ambassador of faith in a world paralyzed by fear. Think about the ripple effects of one person's courage. Think about how differently history would have unfolded if certain individuals had chosen fear instead of faith. What if Noah had been too afraid to build the ark? What if Abraham had been too afraid to leave his homeland? What if Moses had been too afraid to confront Pharaoh? What if Esther had been too afraid to approach the king? What if Mary had been too afraid to say yes? The courage of these individuals changed the course of history. Your courage can do the same. The decisions you make in your current battles can affect generations you will never meet. I am not asking you to have courage in your own strength. I am offering to share my courage with you. I am inviting you to draw from a well that never runs dry. Every time you feel fear rising, every time doubt begins to speak, every time anxiety threatens to overwhelm you, come to me. Come quickly, come boldly, come expectantly. I will meet you in that moment of weakness and fill you with strength. I will encounter you in that place of fear and saturate you with peace. I will find you in that position of doubt and flood you with faith. You are not meant to face your challenges alone. You were designed for partnership with me. Let me tell you about the rest that is available to you, even in the midst of battle. This might seem like a contradiction. How can someone rest while also fighting? How can there be peace in the middle of war? The answer lies in understanding whose battle this really is. When you try to fight in your own strength, there is no rest. When you attempt to win through your own strategies, peace is impossible. But when you recognize that the battle belongs to me, everything changes. Your role is not to win the war. Your role is to show up in obedience and watch me fight on your behalf. Your job is not to figure out all the answers. Your job is to trust the one who knows all things and do what I tell you to do. This is why I keep telling you to rest. Not because the battle is not real, but because the outcome is not in question. Not because the enemy is not dangerous, but because I am more powerful than any enemy. Not because your situation is not serious, but because I take your situation seriously, and I am actively working on your behalf. The rest I offer is not denial of reality. It is recognition of a higher reality. It is the awareness that behind the visible circumstances, an invisible God is moving with unstoppable purpose. I want to give you a picture that will help you understand this rest. Imagine a small child riding on their father's shoulders as the father walks through a crowded marketplace. From the child's perspective, there is nothing to fear. The crowds that might be overwhelming at ground level are far below, unable to touch or threaten. The child sees further than anyone walking on the ground because they are elevated by their father's height. The child does not have to navigate the crowds because the father does all the walking. The child simply enjoys the ride, taking in the sights, resting in the security of a strong grip and steady shoulders. This is the rest I am offering you. Not the rest of someone who has no journey to take, but the rest of someone who is being carried through the journey. Your family is included in this rest. Your children are not facing their challenges alone any more than you are facing yours alone. The same God who carries you is carrying them. The same hands that protect you are protecting them. The same eyes that watch over you are watching over them. You do not have to be their ultimate security. That role belongs to me. You get to be their earthly parent, pointing them to their heavenly Father, teaching them to trust the one who never fails, modeling for them what it looks like to rest in divine provision. I see the dreams you have for your children. I see the prayers you have prayed over their lives. I see the hopes you carry for their future. Let me tell you something that will ease your anxious heart. My dreams for them are even bigger than yours. My plans for them are even better than what you can imagine. My commitment to their flourishing is even stronger than your parental love. You love them with a human love that is real and powerful. I love them with a divine love that is infinite and eternal. Your prayers for them do not fall on deaf ears. They rise to my throne and move my heart to action on their behalf. The struggles your family faces are not accidents or mistakes. They are not evidence that I have abandoned you or that my protection has failed. Sometimes I allow struggles because struggles produce strength. Sometimes I permit challenges because challenges develop character. Sometimes I do not remove difficulties because those difficulties are preparing your family for a destiny that requires endurance. I am not a God who gives my children easy lives. I am a God who gives my children meaningful lives. And meaningful lives include moments of struggle that forge the kind of depth and resilience that comfortable lives never produce. I know you want to protect your family from pain. This instinct comes from love, and I honor it, but I need you to trust my wisdom about what they need. Sometimes the greatest protection I can provide is allowing them to face challenges while I walk with them through those challenges. Sometimes the best thing I can do for them is not to remove the obstacle, but to strengthen them to overcome it. Your job as a parent is not to shield them from all difficulty. Your job is to teach them that no difficulty is too great for me. Your role is not to solve all their problems. Your role is to point them to the one who can solve any problem. Let me speak about provision again, because I know this is an area where fear has gained too much ground in your life. I know the specific financial concerns you carry. I know the numbers that keep you awake at night. I know the calculations that never seem to add up no matter how many times you run them. But I also know something you do not know. I know what I'm about to do. I know the provision that is already on its way. I know the doors I'm about to open, the connections I'm about to make, the opportunities I'm about to create. What looks impossible from your vantage point looks different from mine. Do you remember the widow of Zarephath? She had nothing left but a handful of flour and a little oil. She was preparing to make one last meal for herself and her son before they starved to death. Everything about her situation said that it was over, that there was no hope, that death was inevitable. But I sent my prophet to her, and I multiplied her provision in a way she never could have imagined. The flour did not run out. The oil did not fail. Day after day, meal after meal, there was always enough. Not excess, not abundance, but enough. Faithful, consistent, dependable provision that sustained her through the entire famine. This is what I am promising you. Not that you will have everything you want, but that you will have everything you need. Not that you will become wealthy by worldly standards, but that you will never lack what is necessary. Not that every financial pressure will disappear instantly, but that you will be sustained through every season of pressure. My provision is not always dramatic. Sometimes it comes in small, faithful increments that require daily trust. But it always comes. It has never failed. It will not fail you. I want to address something specific about your finances. The stress you feel is not just about money, it is about control. When you feel financially insecure, you feel out of control of your life. When you cannot predict where provision will come from, you feel vulnerable and exposed. This is why financial challenges affect you so deeply. They touch something more fundamental than your bank account. They touch your sense of security, your feeling of competence, your ability to care for the people who depend on you. But here's what I need you to understand. You were never meant to be in control. Control was always an illusion. Your sense of security was always supposed to come from me, not from a number on a statement. When you truly grasp this, financial challenges lose their power over you. They become inconveniences rather than crises. They become opportunities to see my faithfulness rather than reasons to panic. They become invitations to trust rather than evidence that something is wrong. I am not asking you to be irresponsible with money. I am asking you to hold your financial concerns with open hands, offering them to me, trusting me to provide, refusing to let worry steal your peace. Wise stewardship and anxious striving are not the same thing. One honors me, the other insults me. Let me tell you about something that happens in the spiritual realm when you choose to trust me with your provision. When you release your financial concerns to me. When you refuse to be controlled by fear about money. When you choose peace even when the numbers do not add up, something shifts in the heavens. The enemy loses his grip. His accusations fall flat. His ability to torment you with anxiety is broken. The peace you experience is not just emotional relief. It is spiritual victory. It is a declaration to every principality and power that your security is not in earthly things. Your security is in the eternal God who cannot be shaken. I want to speak to you now about the struggles themselves. You have been asking me why. Why has this been so hard? Why have the battles been so intense? Why does it seem like every time you make progress, something comes to push you back? These are honest questions, and I am not offended by them. I welcome your honesty. I invite your questions. I am big enough to handle your frustration and your confusion. Here is part of the answer, though you may not fully understand it yet. The intensity of your battle is connected to the significance of your assignment. The enemy does not waste resources attacking people who pose no threat to his kingdom. He targets those whose obedience will produce breakthrough, whose faithfulness will inspire others, whose courage will shake his foundations. The fact that you have faced such opposition is evidence of your importance, not proof that something is wrong. You are under attack because you matter. You are facing resistance because your destiny threatens darkness. But there is more. The struggles you have faced are also producing something in you that comfort could never produce. They are developing perseverance. They are building character. They are creating a depth of faith that only comes through testing. When you emerge from the season, you will not be the same person who entered it. You will be stronger. You will be wiser. You will be more compassionate toward others who are struggling. You will have testimonies that will encourage people you have not met yet. You will have authority to speak into situations you have not encountered yet. Your struggles are not wasted. They are investments in a future you cannot see. I know this does not make the difficulty easier to bear. I know that understanding the purpose of pain does not eliminate the pain. But I want you to have perspective. I want you to know that there is meaning in what you are enduring. I want you to trust that the suffering is producing something eternal even when all you can feel is the present discomfort. Nothing is wasted in my economy. Every tear has value. Every struggle has purpose. Every battle is preparing you for something greater. Let me give you specific instructions for the days ahead. When fear rises, speak my name. When doubt whispers, declare my promises. When anxiety threatens to overwhelm, breathe deeply and remember that I am with you. These are not magic formulas. They are spiritual practices that connect you to my presence and my power. The enemy wants you to face your challenges in isolation. He wants you to forget about me and try to handle everything in your own strength. Every time you turn to me instead, you defeat his strategy. Every time you choose faith over fear, you win a battle. I'm also instructing you to rest. Not just spiritual rest, but physical rest. Your body is exhausted from carrying burdens you were never meant to carry. Your mind is tired from overthinking problems that belong in my hands. Your emotions are drained from the constant vigilance of trying to protect yourself and your family from every possible danger. I am giving you permission to let go. I am giving you permission to sleep without guilt. I am giving you permission to take care of yourself without feeling selfish. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot give to others what you do not have yourself. There is a rhythm I have designed for your life, and you have been living out of sync with that rhythm. Work and rest. Activity and stillness. Giving and receiving. You have been all work and no rest. All activity and no stillness. All giving and no receiving. This imbalance is not sustainable. It is not healthy. It is not my design for you. I am calling you back into rhythm. I am inviting you to trust me enough to rest. I am asking you to believe that the world will not fall apart if you take a break. I want to paint a picture of the future I have planned for you. Not to give you specific details that would remove the need for faith, but to give you hope for what is coming. The season you are in right now is temporary. The difficulties you are facing will not last forever. There is a breakthrough coming that will make the waiting worthwhile. There are victories on the horizon that will make the battles meaningful. There is a joy ahead that will redeem the sorrow you have experienced. You are not stuck. You are not forgotten. You are not abandoned. You are being positioned for something greater than you can imagine. In the future I have planned, your family is thriving. The prayers you have prayed over them have been answered. The struggles they have faced have produced strength and character. The fears that haunted them have been overcome. They are walking in their purpose, fulfilling their callings, making an impact in ways that reflect my glory. You get to see this. You get to witness the fruit of your faithfulness. You get to experience the joy of watching your children and your children's children walking with me. In the future I have planned, provision is abundant. Not just enough to survive, but enough to be generous. Not just resources for your own needs, but resources to bless others. Not just financial stability, but financial freedom that allows you to give without worry. This is not prosperity gospel fantasy. This is the natural result of walking in obedience, of being faithful with little, of trusting me through seasons of scarcity. I reward faithfulness. I honor trust. I multiply what is placed in my hands. In the future I have planned, you are at peace. Not because all your problems are solved, but because you have learned to rest in me regardless of problems. Not because life is easy, but because you have discovered that my grace is sufficient for every difficulty. Not because you have all the answers, but because you have learned to trust the one who knows all things. This peace is not dependent on circumstances. It is rooted in relationship. It is the fruit of years of learning to trust, of seasons of choosing faith over fear, of countless moments of turning to me instead of panicking. I want you to hold this vision in your heart, not as a guarantee of specific circumstances, but as a promise of my faithfulness. Not as a timeline that you can track, but as a direction that you can trust. The future is bright because I am in it. The path is secure because I am guiding it. The outcome is good because I am the one who determines outcomes. Your job is not to figure out how to get to this future. Your job is to trust me one day at a time, one step at a time, one decision at a time. I will get you where you need to go. Let me speak courage over you now. Not as a command you have to obey through gritted teeth, but as a gift you can receive with open hands. I am imparting courage to your spirit right now. I am breathing boldness into your soul. I am depositing faith that displaces fear. This is not something you have to work for or earn. It is something you simply receive. Open your heart to receive it. Welcome the courage I am offering. Let it sink deep into your being, past the surface layers of your consciousness, down into the core of who you are. This courage will manifest in practical ways. You will face a decision that once would have paralyzed you with fear, and you will feel a strange calm. You will encounter an opposition that once would have made you back down, and you will feel an unexpected boldness. You will navigate a conversation that once would have tied your stomach in knots, and you will feel a supernatural peace. This is my courage at work in you. This is the fruit of what I am depositing right now. Watch for it. Expect it. Thank me for it when you see it. There will still be moments of fear. Courage does not eliminate fear. It enables you to move forward in spite of fear. There will still be challenges that make your heart race and your palms sweat. Courage does not remove challenges. It gives you strength to face them. There will still be times when you want to quit, when the battle seems too hard, when giving up looks more attractive than pressing on. Courage does not pretend these moments do not exist. It helps you choose to continue anyway. When those moments come, remember these words. Remember the promise I made to Joshua. Remember that I am with you wherever you go. Remember that the battle belongs to me and the victory is already secured. Remember that your family is under my protection and your provision is guaranteed by my faithfulness. Remember that struggles produce strength and difficulties develop character. Remember that the future I have planned is good and the path I am leading you on is sure. Remember that you are not alone. Remember that you never were alone. Remember that you never will be alone. My beloved child, the courage I am giving you is not for your benefit alone. It is for everyone whose life will be touched by yours. It is for the family members who will be inspired by your faith. It is for the friends who will be encouraged by your testimony. It is for the strangers who will hear your story and find hope for their own struggles. It is for the generations who will inherit the legacy of faithfulness you are building. Your courage matters. Your faith matters. Your choice to trust me in the face of fear matters more than you know. I am so proud of you. I am proud of the battles you have fought, even the ones you feel you lost. I am proud of the faith you have exercised, even when it felt weak and small. I am proud of the prayers you have prayed, even when you wondered if anyone was listening. I am proud of the trust you have placed in me, even when circumstances made trust difficult. You have not been perfect, but you have been faithful, and faithfulness is what I honor. Faithfulness is what I reward. Faithfulness is what I see when I look at your life. As you go forward from this moment, carry my courage with you. Carry it into every conversation and every decision. Carry it into every challenge and every opportunity. Carry it into your family and your work and your relationships. Let it influence how you think and how you speak and how you act. You are not the same person you were before you heard these words. Something has shifted. Something has changed. Something has been deposited that will produce fruit for years to come. I am with you, my child. I am for you. I am fighting on your behalf even when you cannot see it. I am working all things together for your good even when circumstances suggest otherwise. I am faithful. I am trustworthy. I am the same yesterday and forever. Put your confidence in me and you will never be disappointed. Rest in my love and you will find the peace your soul craves. Trust my provision and you will never lack what you truly need. Walk in my courage and you will overcome every obstacle in your path. The giants you face are nothing compared to the God who fights for you. The mountains that block your way are small hills from the perspective of heaven. The enemies that threaten you have already been defeated by my power. The fears that torment you lose their grip when exposed to my light. You are more than a conqueror through me who loves you. No weapon formed against you will prosper. No plan of the enemy will succeed against the plans I have for you. You are protected. You are provided for. You are positioned for victory. Be strong, my child. Be courageous. Do not let your heart be troubled, and do not let it be afraid. The Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you. He will never forsake you. This is not just ancient scripture written for people long ago. This is my living promise to you right now, in this moment, for your specific situation. Receive it. Believe it. Build your life on it. It is more reliable than the ground under your feet. It is more certain than the sun rising. It is more permanent than the mountains that seem so solid and unchanging. I love you with an everlasting love. Before you were formed, I knew you. Before you took your first breath, I planned good things for you. Every day of your life was written in my book before one of them came to be. You are not an accident or a mistake. You are intentional. You are chosen. You are precious beyond measure. Nothing you have done has decreased your value in my eyes. Nothing you have failed to do has diminished my love. You stand fully accepted, completely forgiven, eternally secure in my embrace. Let me speak to you about something that has been weighing heavily on your heart. There are relationships in your life that have caused you pain. People who were supposed to support you but instead brought confusion and hurt. There are wounds from words that were spoken carelessly, from promises that were broken, from trust that was betrayed. These relational injuries have affected how you approach everything, including your relationship with me. You expect me to disappoint you because others have disappointed you. You wait for me to abandon you because others have abandoned you. You brace yourself for rejection because rejection has been a recurring theme in your story. But I am not like the people who hurt you. I am not capable of the failures that marked those painful relationships. When I make a promise, I keep it. When I commit to something, I follow through. When I say I will be with you, nothing in heaven or earth can separate me from you. The relational template you have developed through painful experiences does not apply to me. I am asking you to give me a chance to prove my faithfulness. I am inviting you to let down the walls you have built, not all at once if that feels too vulnerable, but brick by brick as you experience my consistency. There is healing available for those relational wounds. I am not asking you to pretend the pain never happened, or to minimize the reality of what was done to you. I am offering to walk with you through a process of restoration that will transform those wounds into sources of wisdom and compassion. The people who hurt you may never acknowledge what they did. They may never apologize. They may never change. But your healing is not dependent on their response. Your healing depends on your willingness to let me into those painful places, to show me the wounds you have been hiding, to trust me with the parts of your story you have not told anyone. I see the way you protect yourself in relationships. I see how you keep a part of yourself hidden, never fully committing, always preparing for the eventual disappointment. This self-protection is understandable. It makes sense given what you have experienced, but it is also limiting your capacity for the deep connection your soul craves. You were designed for intimacy, for knowing and being known, for giving and receiving love without reservation. The walls that protect you from pain are also preventing you from experiencing the fullness of relationship that I intended for you. I want to help you learn to trust again, not carelessly, not foolishly, not in ways that ignore legitimate red flags, but genuinely, openly, with the discernment that comes from my spirit guiding you. I want to teach you how to recognize the people I have placed in your life, the ones who are safe, the ones who will honor your trust, the ones who will walk with you through seasons of difficulty without abandoning you when things get hard. These people exist. I have been preparing them for connection with you. But you will miss them if fear keeps your heart closed. Let me also speak about the purpose I have placed within you. There is something you were created to do, a contribution only you can make, an assignment that has your name written on it. This purpose has been stirring inside you, sometimes clearly, and sometimes as a vague sense that there must be more to life than what you are currently experiencing. You are right. There is more. The feeling that you were made for something significant is not delusion or pride. It is recognition of the calling I placed in you before you were born. The courage I am giving you is connected to this purpose. You will need boldness to step into your calling because it will require you to do things that feel uncomfortable, to take risks that seem unreasonable, to trust me in ways that stretch your faith. Your purpose will not be fulfilled from a place of safety and comfort. It will be fulfilled as you follow me into unknown territory, as you obey instructions that do not make sense to your natural mind, as you say yes to opportunities that seem beyond your capacity. But here is what I want you to know. I never call you to something without equipping you for it. The purpose I have given you comes with the provision of everything you need to accomplish it. You have been waiting for the right time to step into your calling. You have been waiting until you feel ready, until circumstances are more favorable, until the obstacles clear and the path becomes obvious. But the right time is not determined by your readiness or by external circumstances. The right time is determined by my voice. When I say go, it is time to go. When I say speak, it is time to speak. When I say step out in faith, it is time to step out regardless of how prepared you feel. Your sense of unreadiness is not a reason to delay. It is an invitation to depend on me rather than on your own abilities. I want to tell you about someone who understood this dynamic of courage and calling. There was a man named Gideon who was hiding from his enemies when I called him a mighty warrior. From his perspective, that label made no sense. He was from the smallest clan of the smallest tribe, hiding in a wine press because he was afraid of the Midianites. Mighty warrior was the last phrase anyone would have used to describe him. But I was not describing who he was in that moment. I was declaring who he would become as he walked in obedience to my calling. When I sent Gideon to fight the Midianites, I did something that seemed counterproductive. I reduced his army from 32,000 to 300. From a military perspective, this was insanity. How could 300 men defeat an army that covered the valley like locusts? But I was teaching Gideon, and I am teaching you, that victory does not depend on your resources. It depends on my presence. I reduced the army so that when victory came, there would be no confusion about who deserved the credit. I removed every human explanation so that my power would be undeniable. This is how I often work. I reduce your resources so that you have no choice but to depend on me. I remove your backup plan so that I become your only plan. I strip away the things you rely on so that you learn to rely on me alone. This feels threatening when you are in the middle of it. It feels like loss, like abandonment, like I am setting you up for failure. But it is actually preparation for a victory so complete that you will never doubt my faithfulness again. The victory Gideon experienced with 300 men changed his entire perspective. He went from hiding in a wine press to leading a nation. He went from seeing himself as the weakest to understanding that he was mighty when I was with him. The same transformation is available for you. The fears that have defined you do not have to define you forever. The limitations you have accepted do not have to limit your future. When you partner with me in courage and faith, you become someone new. You become who you were always meant to be. I want to speak to you about the specific areas where you need courage in this season. There is a conversation you have been avoiding, words that need to be spoken, truth that needs to be shared. You have been putting it off because you are afraid of the response, afraid of conflict, afraid of what might change if you finally say what needs to be said. But the avoidance is not protecting you. It is prolonging the situation. The courage to have that conversation is part of what I am depositing in you right now. Not reckless confrontation that tears down, but bold truth-telling that builds up. There is a decision you have been delaying, a choice that has been sitting on the table waiting for you to commit. You have been gathering more information, seeking more opinions, waiting for more clarity. But at some point, the delay itself becomes the problem. At some point, you have enough information to move forward. The courage to make that decision and trust me with the outcome is part of what I am giving you. Not foolish impulsiveness that ignores wisdom, but faith-filled action that refuses to be paralyzed by fear of making the wrong choice. There is a dream you have been hiding, a vision you have been afraid to pursue, a goal that seems too big and too far away to be realistic. You have kept it locked in your heart, afraid to speak it out loud because saying it would make it real, and making it real would open you up to the possibility of failure. The courage to pursue that dream is part of what I am releasing in you. Not fantasy that ignores reality, but vision that sees beyond current circumstances to what I have promised is possible. There is a relationship you need to address, boundaries you need to establish, patterns you need to break. You have been tolerating things that should not be tolerated, accepting treatment that does not honor the value I have placed on you. The courage to make changes in that relationship is part of what I am empowering you for. Not harsh rejection that burns bridges, but healthy boundaries that protect what is sacred. Each of these areas requires a different expression of courage, but they all require the same foundation: trust in me. When you know that I am with you, when you are confident in my love and my faithfulness, when you understand that no outcome can separate you from my care, you become capable of things that seemed impossible before. Fear loses its power when you are anchored in my love. Anxiety releases its grip when you are resting in my promises. Hesitation transforms into action when you are walking in my strength. I want to give you a visual picture of what I am doing in your life right now. Imagine a seed that has been buried in dark soil for what seems like forever. From the seed's perspective, nothing is happening. There is no light, no warmth, no evidence of growth. It would be easy for the seed to conclude that it has been forgotten, that the promises of becoming something beautiful were lies, that it will remain buried in darkness forever. But what the seed cannot see is what is happening beneath the surface. Roots are growing downward, pushing through the soil, establishing the foundation that will eventually support the visible plant. The darkness is not abandonment. It is preparation. This is where you are right now. You are in a season that feels dark and buried, where nothing seems to be happening, where the promises I have made seem distant and unrealistic. But beneath the surface of your visible circumstances, I am doing deep work. I am establishing roots in your character. I am building foundations in your faith. I am preparing you for the moment when you will break through the surface and become visible, when everything that has been developing in the darkness will become evident in the light. The timing of that breakthrough is in my hands. I know exactly when the roots are deep enough, when the foundation is strong enough, when you are ready to emerge. Your job is not to force the timing or to become frustrated with the darkness. Your job is to trust the gardener who planted you, to receive the nutrients I am providing, to grow in the ways that are available to you even when the full expression of your growth is not yet visible. The breakthrough will come, the light will come, the fruit will come, but first comes the faithful waiting in the soil. I also want to speak to you about the enemy's attempts to steal your courage. He knows what I have planned for you. He knows the impact your obedience will have. He knows the people who will be blessed by your breakthrough. And he is doing everything he can to keep you afraid, to keep you small, to keep you from stepping into the fullness of what I have prepared. His tactics are predictable if you know what to look for. He uses lies that feel like truth. He amplifies fears that should be small. He brings up past failures to convince you that future attempts will also fail. He isolates you so that you face your battles without support. But you are not defenseless against his attacks. I have given you weapons that are mighty for the pulling down of strongholds. I have given you truth that exposes lies. I have given you the shield of faith that extinguishes every flaming arrow. I have given you the sword of the Spirit, which is my word, capable of dividing soul from spirit and discerning the thoughts and intentions of hearts. You are equipped for this battle. The question is not whether you have what you need. The question is whether you will use what you have been given. Every lie the enemy speaks can be countered with truth from my word. When he says you are worthless, my word says you are fearfully and wonderfully made. When he says you will always fail, my word says I am working all things together for your good. When he says you are alone, my word says I will never leave you or forsake you. When he says the situation is hopeless, my word says with me all things are possible. The battle for your courage is largely a battle for your mind. Whatever thoughts you allow to take root will determine the emotions you experience and the actions you take. Guard your mind. Fill it with truth. Reject the lies before they have a chance to grow. I want you to understand something about the nature of faith and courage. They are not feelings that you wait for before taking action. They are decisions that you make regardless of how you feel. Courage is not the absence of trembling knees. It is choosing to walk forward even while your knees are trembling. Faith is not the absence of doubt. It is choosing to believe even while questions remain unanswered. If you wait until you feel courageous to act, you may wait forever. But if you act in obedience even when you do not feel courageous, the feeling will often follow the decision. This is one of the most important principles I can teach you. Action often precedes feeling. Obedience often comes before understanding. Courage often develops through the process of doing courageous things, rather than waiting until courage fully develops before you do anything. The first step is always the hardest, because the first step is taken before you have any evidence that the path will hold your weight. But once you take that first step, once you experience that the ground is solid, the next step becomes easier. And then the next, and then the next, until one day you look back and realize you have traveled a great distance, one courageous step at a time. The rest I have promised is waiting for you. Not in some distant future, but available right now. Step into it. Breathe it in. Let it settle over your soul like a warm blanket on a cold night. The peace that passes understanding is yours. The joy that comes from knowing you are loved is yours. The confidence that comes from resting in my protection is yours. These are not things you have to earn. They are gifts I am offering. Will you receive them? I am calling you to a new level of trust, not because the old level was bad, but because there is more available than you have experienced. I am inviting you into deeper intimacy with me, not because we have been distant, but because there are depths of relationship you have not yet explored. I am awakening desires in you that only I can satisfy, not to frustrate you, but to draw you closer. Everything I do in your life has one ultimate goal: to bring you into fuller experience of my love and my presence. The journey ahead will have challenges. I will not pretend otherwise. But the one who walks with you is greater than any challenge you will face. The journey ahead will have moments of uncertainty, but the one who guides you knows the end from the beginning. The journey ahead will have seasons of waiting, but the one who sustains you never grows tired or weary. Your future is secure because it is held in my hands. Your destiny is certain because I am the one who determines destinies. I want to share with you some of the specific ways my courage will manifest in your life in the coming days. You will find yourself speaking when you used to stay silent. Not aggressively, not arrogantly, but with a quiet confidence that comes from knowing who you are and whose you are. Words that used to get stuck in your throat will flow freely. Truths that you used to swallow out of fear will find expression. Thoughts that you used to suppress will be spoken with grace and wisdom. This is my courage working through your voice. You will also find yourself making decisions with less hesitation. The paralysis that used to grip you when facing choices will begin to loosen. Not because you suddenly have all the information or all the answers, but because you have learned to trust me with the outcomes. You will make decisions based on the best information available, commit them to me in prayer, and then move forward without the constant second-guessing that used to torment you. This is my courage working through your will. You will find yourself taking steps toward dreams you had almost given up on. Goals that seemed too distant will suddenly feel possible. Aspirations that you had locked away in a closet of disappointment will be dusted off and examined again. Not because circumstances have changed, but because your perspective has changed. When you see through eyes of faith, impossibilities become possibilities. When you walk in divine courage, obstacles become opportunities. This is my courage working through your vision. You will find yourself setting boundaries you were afraid to set. Conversations that you dreaded will happen with unexpected calm. Limits that you were afraid to establish will be put in place with firmness and love. People who have been taking advantage of your kindness will encounter a new version of you, not harsh or mean, but clear about what you will and will not accept. This is my courage working through your relationships. All of these changes are connected to the deposit I am making in your spirit right now. They are not things you have to manufacture through willpower or positive thinking. They are natural expressions of the courage that is being awakened within you. As you receive what I am giving, as you believe what I am declaring, as you trust what I am promising, these changes will unfold organically. You do not have to force them. You simply have to remain connected to the source. Let me speak to you about maintaining this courage once it has been awakened. The enemy will not leave you alone just because you have received fresh courage. If anything, he will intensify his attacks because he recognizes the threat you pose. He will bring up memories of past failures to make you doubt whether this time will be different. He will arrange circumstances designed to trigger your old fears. He will speak lies that target the specific areas where you have experienced breakthrough. You must be prepared for this counterattack. The key to maintaining your courage is continuous connection with me. Not a one-time encounter that fades over time, but an ongoing relationship that is renewed daily. The courage I give you in this moment is sufficient for this moment, but you will need fresh courage for each new challenge. You will need renewed strength for each new battle. You will need replenished faith for each new trial. This is why I invite you to come to me continually, not just when things get hard, but as a regular rhythm of life. Think of it like breathing. You do not take one deep breath and try to survive the whole day on it. You breathe continuously, inhaling and exhaling, taking in what you need and releasing what you do not. Your relationship with me is meant to be the same way. Continuous intake, constant communion, regular refreshment. When you live this way, you are never running on empty. You are never operating on yesterday's strength for today's challenges. You are always freshly supplied, always newly equipped, always recently encouraged. I also want to speak to you about the community I am placing around you. Courage is not meant to be developed in isolation. It is meant to be strengthened in community. There are people I am bringing into your life who will encourage your faith, who will speak truth when lies are loud, who will remind you of my promises when your memory fails. These are not random connections. They are divine appointments. They are strategic placements. They are my provision for the journey ahead. Do not push these people away. Do not let past relational wounds make you reject the healthy relationships I am offering. Do not let fear of vulnerability keep you isolated when I am providing support. The courage I am giving you includes the courage to let people in, to accept help when it is offered, to be honest about your struggles with those who have earned your trust. Isolation is the enemy's strategy. Community is mine. There is also a generational dimension to what I am doing in your life. The courage I am depositing in you is not just for your benefit. It is for your children. It is for your grandchildren. It is for generations that will come after you. When you walk in courage, you break patterns of fear that may have been in your family for decades. When you trust me in the face of uncertainty, you model faith for those who are watching. When you choose boldness over timidity, you give permission to everyone in your lineage to do the same. Think about the spiritual inheritance you are building. Think about the legacy of faith you are creating. Every courageous decision you make deposits something into the generational account. Every fear you overcome removes something that might have been passed down. Every battle you win secures ground that your descendants will not have to fight for. Your courage matters beyond your own lifetime. It echoes into the future in ways you cannot fully comprehend. I want you to also understand that courage does not mean the absence of wisdom. I am not calling you to reckless behavior that ignores legitimate concerns. I am not asking you to jump without looking or to speak without thinking. Divine courage is always paired with divine wisdom. Bold faith is always balanced by careful discernment. When I tell you to be courageous, I am not telling you to be foolish. I am telling you to trust me enough to act on my leading, to obey my voice when I speak, to step forward when I say go. The difference between courage and foolishness is the source of the action. Foolishness acts on human impulse. Courage acts on divine instruction. Foolishness ignores consequences. Courage considers consequences, but trusts me with them. Foolishness is motivated by ego. Courage is motivated by faith. When you are walking in genuine divine courage, you will feel a peace that confirms you are on the right path. When you are acting in foolishness disguised as faith, you will feel an uneasiness that something is not right. Learn to discern the difference. So be courageous, my beloved child. Step into this new season with bold faith and confident trust. Face your fears knowing that I am bigger than all of them combined. Engage your battles knowing that victory is already assured. Care for your family knowing that they are under my watchful protection. Trust for provision knowing that I am the God who provides. Rest in my presence knowing that I am always with you. This is the life I am calling you to. This is the freedom I am offering. This is the courage I am depositing in your spirit. Receive it. Walk in it. Let it transform you from the inside out. The world needs people who trust me without reservation. The world needs people who face fear with faith. The world needs people who rest in my provision instead of striving in their own strength. The world needs you, my child, walking in the courage I have given you. If this message has touched your heart, I want you to share it with someone who needs to hear these words. Type Amen in the comments to receive this blessing. Subscribe to this channel so you do not miss any of the messages I have for you. Like this video so others can find it and be encouraged. You are not alone in your journey. There are others who need to hear these same truths. Let your experience of receiving be the beginning of your practice of giving. Amen.